The Oval Office, a room steeped in history, a place for diplomacy. On February 28, 2025, it became a battleground. Former President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, once partners, faced off in a heated exchange. The world watched in astonishment. Zelenskyy had arrived in Washington seeking a renewed commitment from the United States. He sought ironclad security guarantees against Russian aggression. His nation was depending on it. A lucrative minerals deal was also on the table. It promised billions in investment for Ukraine's post-war rebuilding. The meeting was tense from the start. Body language spoke volumes. The smiles felt forced. Trump, never one to hide his feelings, appeared agitated. Zelenskyy, usually stoic, seemed caught off guard. The tension was palpable. It didn't take long for the situation to deteriorate. Words were exchanged, voices were raised. The meeting ended abruptly. No agreements were reached. The minerals deal, once promising prosperity, lay in tatters. The security guarantees, unsecured. The two leaders parted ways not as allies but as adversaries. The world was left to wonder, what went wrong? Zelenskyy's primary goal was clear: secure a binding agreement for U.S. military support against Russia. His nation's future, its very existence, hung in the balance. He argued that Ukrainian security was intrinsically linked to global stability. A bold claim, but one he passionately believed. The proposed minerals deal, a key part of the discussion, aimed to leverage Ukraine's natural resources. It promised mutual benefits. The deal would provide much-needed funds for post-war reconstruction. Trump, however, had other priorities. He accused Zelenskyy of gambling with millions of lives. He claimed that Zelenskyy's unwavering stance against Putin threatened to escalate the conflict. The stakes couldn't be higher, a potential World War III. Trump, presenting himself as a neutral player, criticized Zelenskyy's hatred for Putin. He painted this animosity as the main obstacle to peace. The subtext was clear: compromise with Putin was the only path forward. The meeting room crackled with tension, accusations flew. Zelenskyy, taken aback by the former president's accusations, defended his position. He argued that negotiating with a dictator while under attack was not an option. Appeasement, he insisted, would only embolden Putin. He reminded Trump of the extraordinary sacrifices made by the Ukrainian people. Their courage, he argued, deserved unwavering support, not condemnation. Trump remained unconvinced. He reiterated his stance. Zelenskyy's refusal to negotiate with Putin was pushing the world towards a global conflict. The former president's words were heavy with implication. He seemed to suggest that Ukraine, not Russia, was the obstacle to peace. Adding fuel to the fire, Vice President J.D. Vance entered the fray. His words were a rebuke, a public dressing down of the Ukrainian president. Vance criticized Zelenskyy's approach. He accused him of airing their disagreements on the world stage. Such public displays of discord, Vance argued, were unproductive and damaging. Gratitude, it seemed, was also in short supply. Vance implied that Zelenskyy wasn't sufficiently appreciative of the billions in aid already provided by the United States. Zelenskyy, though visibly shaken, stood his ground. He defended his need for concrete security guarantees. Negotiations with Russia, he insisted, were pointless without them. He reminded Vance that the war's impact extended far beyond Ukraine's borders. The future of democracy itself, he argued, was at stake. He appealed to the principles upon which the United States was built: freedom, democracy, and self-determination. The room fell silent. The weight of the unspoken hung in the air. The meeting had reached a point of no return. The chasm between the two sides was too wide to bridge. Trust, once a cornerstone of their relationship, had crumbled. The breakdown of the meeting sent shockwaves across the globe. The optics were terrible. The carefully constructed image of a united front against Russian aggression lay shattered. The cancellation of the minerals deal signaled a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy. It raised questions about the longevity of U.S. support for Ukraine. Zelenskyy, despite the acrimony, took to social media. He expressed his gratitude to the American people for their unwavering support. He emphasized the need for a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. His message was clear: Ukraine would not be bullied into submission. Reaction to the Oval Office showdown was swift and divided. Democrats, led by Senate Leader Chuck Schumer, condemned Trump and Vance. They accused them of emboldening Putin and undermining global security. European leaders, including Ursula von der Leyen and Giorgia Meloni, reaffirmed their unwavering support for Ukraine. The transatlantic alliance, already strained, showed further cracks. The long-term consequences of this meeting are yet to be fully understood. One thing is certain, the world watched as diplomacy failed, and the ramifications will be felt for years to come. The future of Ukraine and indeed the world hangs precariously in the balance. The hope for peace, for now, feels like a distant dream.